Hello, it's Dr. Rowe here. I hope you're well. And in this video, I wanted to talk about a subject which I think if you're in the business of sales or you're self-employed or you're employed and you need to sell yourself to other people, maybe your boss, possibly some of your colleagues, or sat around a table with a whole group of other people, it might be that you've got a product or a service. You've got widgets to sell. You might be online promoting to people through social media, whatever. Sales skills are absolutely essential. Most people don't like the concept of being labeled as somebody who sells things. I've certainly been in this field for many, many years, probably over 25, 30 years now. And I say to people that ultimately what you're trying to do is share an idea with somebody. You're trying to persuade somebody to look at what you're offering, and you shouldn't be afraid to do that if you believe in the value and the content and what you've got to offer. So that's something I want to get across just as I go into this short video, which is don't be afraid to promote yourself. I think certainly where I'm recording this in the United Kingdom, the British are not particularly good, where if I go to America, they're not afraid to be bolder and to be open about what they've got to offer. And the challenge, of course, is that in any environment you go into, whichever part of the world you are, whatever business or service you're in, when you go to offer something to somebody else, you will get some level of objection. Now, some people can perceive that as a rejection. The point I want to make here is that not everyone's going to like what you've got to offer, or not everyone's going to fully understand what you've got to offer. So that will lead to objections. So I've got 4 things. Let me pull up on the screen here. I've been doing this for many, many years. I've genuinely sold millions and millions and millions of pounds worth of services and products over the years. And that means that in that time doing it, I've experienced a lot of objections and also rejections from people. And I've had to develop skills, and certainly with the communications system that I have, the Communicating with Impact system, what we've found is that there are certain techniques that if you consistently use them again and again and again, you'll develop this approach where you can peel the onion to get to people's main objections. And that's what I put on the screen here for you. So the first message is this: you have to welcome objections, as I put there. In fact, if I move out the way here, we've got a lovely lady saying, not sure about that. And you've gone all fuzzy, or I've gone all fuzzy. Hold on a second. Let me just come back onto screen for you. So this is a classic case of sometimes when things don't go right, you have to sort of pivot very quickly. So an objection, the way to welcome it is to realize that if everybody said yes to you all the time, then you're not going to develop any skills. So I see objections as an opportunity to literally sharpen my skills, sharpen my axe, sharpen my knife. So when I hear the word rejection or objection inside a conversation with somebody, what I say to myself is they just don't fully understand what I'm offering them. That's a great thing to write down in this video, actually. If you're recording or making any notes here, is ask yourself the question, what is it I'm offering that they don't fully understand? Or are they, and remember, it's not a personal thing. A lot of the time they're not saying, I don't like you, I object to you as a person. Most of the time, if you're using the right communication skills, that's not the problem. It's that they don't physically understand what you're offering them, or what the package is that you're giving them, or the service that you want to provide for them, or the pricing, or something like that. So this objection, you've got to get to the core of it. So step number 1 in your mind is to welcome it. If it comes at you, don't go into this closed state, which of course creates a lot of resistance in people, and then you start to go into a negative state, and then the other person reacts to that, and it goes into this cycle. So first of all, welcome them, and if it comes down, okay, so lean forward with an open body language and start to peel the onion, as I put there. Now, peeling the onion means asking questions. So if somebody says to you, well, I've got an objection about the way this product is delivered. And you say, okay, so specifically, and this is where you've got to be specific with your question, specifically, what is it about the way the product is delivered that you don't like? Or they might say, oh, I don't like the handle, or I don't like the packaging, or I don't like the service specifically. And you say, well, okay, well, what is it about the service you don't like? Well, I like face-to-face, but from what you're telling me is everything is on camera. We do all of the work, the service you provide, the coaching, the advice is all done on camera, on Zoom, on the phone. That's not how I like to operate. I like to operate face to face. And you go, okay, so the rejection isn't really so much you or even the product, it's the way it's being delivered. So that's the first layer of the onion. And then you can say, okay, well, you can peel a bit deeper and say, well, what would be the ideal situation for you if I could provide the service? And they say, well, I'm okay with meeting face to face, or I'm okay with doing Zoom calls once a week, but I would also want to meet at least once every 2 weeks face to face. And you say, well, if we could overcome that challenge and make that work for you, is there anything else? And that's peeling to the next level. So now what's happened is you've gone from one level, which is they're resistant to, for example, the idea of face-to-face or online, and then they've said they want to meet you every 2 weeks. And now you've peeled that onion. You ask them the next question, well, okay, if I could overcome that, what would be anything else that I could help you with? And they say, well, okay, outside of that, I'm a little bit concerned about the way the pricing works. Okay, so what specifically is it about the pricing that you don't like? And they might go, well, I need to pay it in installments, or I can't pay the whole lot up front. You know, you've said you need this much up front. We're not in a position to be able to do that. And you say, okay, well, if we could overcome the face-to-face and get that access to you every 2 weeks, and if we could work out a different way of paying this, what would be the ideal situation for you? Well, I'd like to put 30% down, not 50%. Okay, well, if we could overcome that, and then you're peeling down. So you're offering a solution. That's number 3. So you find the barrier, the objection, you peel that, you offer a solution, and then you peel again. And in that process, you'll get to the final core, and you'll see the person's objections diminish, or they'll get to a really big objection, which often is money, actually. If you in a lot of situations, it comes down to money, or a possible situation where the timing isn't right for them at that moment. But until you keep peeling, you won't get there. So this is a great approach for anyone in sales who's face-to-face with the audience or on the phone to somebody. You can't necessarily get to the quick answer of what the problem is, so you have to peel it. Some people, depending on the personality, are absolutely straight up front and they go, this is a situation, this is what I don't like, bang, and they just tell you. But for most people, you need to peel that onion through. And if you use this technique, you'll find it very, very powerful. So hopefully that was useful. It's always good to get comments below to see how it's helping you, how you're using it, how you're applying it. And remember, you can subscribe, you can follow, and you can come and join us, of course, on our Cicado communications. Well, in fact, if you just come onto the Cicado show, the podcast, you'll hear communications and lots of other skills there as well. So I shall see you on my next post.